Alright, in this video I'm going to be napping some obsidian. I'm going to be napping a Clovis, or attempting to, but I'm going to be doing it in a way that's upside down, so to speak, from the way that a lot of guys normally approach this. And I think I've already done it on video. Yeah, I've already done this technique on video. Let's see if I can quickly demonstrate using a piece of obsidian from Alan Cole. Looks like a nice little nodule. I already struck a couple pieces off. Alright, so here we go. Upside down Clovis, so to speak. Although I think it was done like this quite a bit in the past. It's upside down for us in the modern age. Okay, alright. You'll see. Okay, 6 ounce. Where's my 6 ounce popper? Yeah. Alright, so let's just get this roughly shaped. I chose obsidian because I'm a little bit tired and it's getting late. I think I can do this quickly with obsidian. Relatively quickly. Yeah. If I don't run into any problems. The material looks a little bit crackly. Looks like good stuff. I'm a little afraid to overshoot it. So I'm just going to roughly biface it and then put the thinning flakes or the flutes in. First, and then nap around the flutes. Hopefully I'll be able to get a good flute on both sides. I'll try percussion on the first one, direct percussion on the first thinning flake, and if it goes well I'll try it again on the second one. Otherwise I'll just do a indirect percussion second flute, since that one needs to be more accurate anyway. Yeah, I can't mess up the second one. The second one is more difficult to do than the first one. Because the first one you can just nap around it. But the second one's got to be more precise. It's got to go in a certain spot. It's got to be opposite the first one. Yeah. Oh, that was nice. No, too many hits and results in too many incipients. Okay. I think we're okay. Yeah, we're a little bit crackly, but I think it'll work. I got some long flakes in the beginning, so hopefully it will not dive when I try to put the thinning flakes in there. You'll see. So I'm just making a regular leaf-shaped biface, just like every other time I do napping. Come on. Why are you so sticky? Get all the cortex off. Yes, what I was afraid of. Yeah. I was afraid that it might get crackly once you have to not make it crackly, it's gonna start getting crackly. Once you start to try to plan the flakes out, it starts to not cooperate. Before you plan the flakes, it's fine. But once you start to plan them, the rock says, no, I'm not going to do it. I got to be a little more careful now. Now that I can see that it's not going to cooperate. Okay. Very careful. Take the flakes very carefully. They're going to start getting sticky and non-cooperative. Sticky means they don't terminate correctly and they stay in place. You got to pry them out. That one was okay. That's an encouraging sign because that's the kind of flake I need for the thinning flakes, but this is not. That should have been a good flake. Okay. No. No. Come on. You've done it before. It won't let me take the shortcut. So, yeah. I see how this is going to go. I see. Yep. I see how it's going to go. Dang it. It's not a good sign. It's already too narrow. That's better. Okay. Already made it too narrow. But we're gonna press on, press forward. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. Nice. Cool. But yeah, that's the easy one. Yeah. That's okay. Is it thin enough? No, not thin enough yet. Might do two more thinning flakes, yeah, to get it thinner. But I gotta be careful with these. I run the risk of making it too thin. Yeah, hold on. see, do I want to mess up this side? Which side do I want to thin down again? This one, this side has better contours. It's not really flute, is it? But it's okay, I don't care. I'm just demonstrating the technique. I'm not demonstrating a perfect success. Yeah, it's thin enough. Okay, I mean, they're not perfect, but it's thin enough. I could possibly do one more thinning flake in there. Because the goal is to match your pre-made hafting element or foreshaft or whatever. The trick is to have a foreshaft already made and then you nap the point to match it. Yeah. How do they know they did it that way? I don't know. That's just the logical way to do it. Otherwise, why would you attempt to keep fluting like they used to? There's sometimes several attempts. Looks like there was several attempts sometimes. And that usually means that they need to get it to a certain thinness. And how did they know what to get it to? They knew because they already had the foreshaft made. That's how they knew. But yeah, it's just a thought experiment. I'm just using logic to get to that conclusion. So yeah, now I'm just going to nap around those thinning flakes. Yeah. Yeah, and when I said it was too narrow before, and that was a problem, it's because if it's too narrow, that means I got to take up too much of that base if I want to make a wide stem, right? I got to cut too much of that point off if it's too narrow. It turns out that I had to do both. I didn't like the thinning flakes at first, so I had to keep going. That took me even more off. So the moral of the story is just start with a bigger piece. Yeah. That's why I guess the Clovis back in the day started out with big, gigantic preforms, comparatively speaking, compared to what I normally use. I try to start with the smallest piece that I could possibly use. Yeah. And if you do it this way, where you have to thin down the blade last, you get those big bold flakes that you see on Clovises a lot of times. You don't always see big bold flakes, but on these base first points, when you construct the base first, you often see in various time periods, you often see a lot of big, bold flakes to finish it out. And remember, in the beginning, this was not cooperative, so it's not going to be cooperative in the finishing either. See that? Yeah, big bold flakes. It wasn't just Clovis that had big bold flakes. There are a lot of archaic points like that too. That took too much. Dang it. Luckily it's not going to mess up the symmetry. But yeah, there's a little bit of too much taken out right there. You might say, wouldn't it be easier just to flute it at the very end, like everybody else? Why you gotta do it like this? Because I break a lot when I flute it at the very end. I did that in the beginning too. I figured make a perfect preform, get it nice and napped, try to get a central ridge down here on both sides, and then the first attempt at fluting, putting it in either a jig or lash it to sticks or hold it in your hand real tight or wrap something around it, blah, 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 blah. And then first strike, breaks it right in half. After spending all that time. Now, right, if you do it this way, or just a rough biface and you start from the point and it breaks, you only spent that time making that rough biface and that's it. You can refine it later. And having a lot of mass up here near the tip also helps to prevent it from breaking. And it helps to drive thinning flakes because there's more mass in the front. Yeah, you're using the mass against itself, so the more mass you have in the beginning when you're trying to do those thinning flakes, the better. And then if you are careful with the thinning flakes from the sides, at the end of the process, it looks like you're making a Clovis with big bold flakes. And you got plenty of room to nap in a way that captures the flutes. Yeah, I might send another thinning flake up in there. Yeah, they didn't always have just one perfect flute. One perfect flake for each flute. Sometimes there were multiple attempts. Yeah, doesn't look all that great. Oh well. I've got to make sure, I've got to practice more on these. It always takes me a long time to get used to that. Get used to not doing such a big concavity and just only a few attempts at thinning flakes, and that's it. Instead of having to keep thinning and thinning and thinning and thinning, and then finding out that I don't have much left. That didn't go anywhere. That was one of the hardest hits I've ever done that never went anywhere. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Come on. It wants to be tough. Yeah. It's not cooperating on this side either. All right. Come on. Okay. It's so weird. It wants to be tough right when I think it's going to be delicate. Come on. See, I'm thinking it's going to be really easy to knock off those flakes, but then it wants to be tough. It almost seems like I got to hit harder for the smaller flakes than the longer flakes. I don't want to take forever on this one. Okay, that took a little longer than I thought it was going to take. I tried to rush it at the end because it was taking longer than I thought. It's not exactly how I wanted it, but the material was giving me some trouble, right? But if I had spent more time with it, it would have ended up. How do I say this? If I decided to spend more time with it, it would have taken me a lot longer, like an hour and a half to finish it. not just a little bit longer. Yeah. So I could have probably set one of these sides up for another thinning flake, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Because if I had done another thinning flake, maybe from this side it would look longer. I could do a longer one into that area, and it couldn't use it too because it's a little bit thicker up here. But anyways, yeah, that's the idea. And you can't tell from looking at it that that's the way I did it. I did it upside down, so to speak. Anyway, yeah, I could have. If I had taken twice as long, it would have been a little bit neater. But yeah, I did this at the last minute tonight. I'm going to go to bed now. Well, after I upload the videos, then I'll go to sleep. Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, in other words. This stuff is okay. It is a little bit delicate. Alright, the rest of that's just crud flakes. Okay. Not too bad. I need to pick at it a little bit more to get it sharp, but it's kind of crushy, so I don't know if I'll do that. But it needs to be thick. As an obsidian Clovis, it needs to be pretty thick. Where are Harley's points here? Did he have a Clovis in here? Yeah, see, this is a Clovis here. Look how thick that is. Mine's not that thick. This is a 3D printed Clovis. Yeah. You might say, well, how do you know it's an obsidian one? I don't know it's an obsidian one. But look how thick it is. Yeah, I probably should have kept this one thicker. Yeah. Alrighty. There you go. That's it. Let's see if